In today's Dual Bear feature, our first girl takes us back 51 years into the past to 1965.
Oh yeah? You wouldn't have the nerve.
Our first stop takes us to Hanna-Barbera's The Hillbilly Bears. They ran as a segment for 26 episodes during the Secret Squirrel and Adam Ant show, from 1965 to 1967.
Excuse me, young lady, but...
Ah! A man! How dare you!
The show revolved regularly around a family of 4 bears who were a social stereotype of hillbillies.
Ain't it the truth?
Paw Rug, Shag Rug, Ma Rug, and Floral Rug. Floral was the oldest daughter of the Rugs, whose name meant flowers, which was represented by the flower on her signature hat. While at times this lovely lemon-colored bear was as clueless as the rest of her family members, she was the most sophisticated one. One feat of hers noted in episode Picnic Panic was how incredibly agile she was when Clodhopper couldn't catch her. Because the Rugs were a hillbilly stereotype, they often had another family they feuded with, which were called the Hoppers. Floral's role as a character was noticeably much shorter than the rest of her family members. However, her biggest part was bridging the gap between the two families, because her boyfriend was a bumbling idiot named Clodhopper, the oldest son of the Hoppers. The problem was, Paul was never up for mutual agreements when it came to Claude and his daughter, which in turn put him in many shenanigans where he would try to break Floral and Claude up, or attempt to cause him harm.
What are you doing to my boyfriend?
Floral Rug was voiced by Gene Vanderpyle.
Just say Julie Bruin, yeah.
Hi, Tiny Toon Music TVers. It's me, Julie Bruin.
In Tiny Toon Adventures, episode Tiny Toons Music Television, we were introduced to an unknown yet very appealing anthropomorphic bear named Julie Bruin. In her very brief role in Tiny Toons, she tells the audience that she is expecting Babs and Buster to come over for a 60s tango party. And she was even more so excited because she believed Madonna was coming with them. Madonna in the 80s.
Hey, where's Madonna?
We didn't say Madonna. We said Fudonna.
Instead of Madonna, she gets a glorified ugly ripoff of Elmer Fudd dressed as Madonna. Despite her dismay at Fudonna, the party goes on as she pops in a tape, which eventually takes us to a music video of Montana singing Money, That's What I Want, where he snatches Julie's towel and flips her into the ocean, soon tossing a life raft that hits her in the head. And that was it for Julie Bruin. If you don't know your pop culture, Julie Bruin's biggest purpose was to be a parody for Julie Brown. Julie Brown is a multi-talented songwriter, singer, actress, and director. Not only was Julie Bruin a parody of Julie Brown, she was also voiced by her. The exact same Julie Brown who would later become the voice to Minerva Mink in Animaniacs. While performing largely as a musician in the 1980s, in 1989 she would be given a music video show on MTV she would become most recognized for, called Just Say Judy, a comedy show where she played a ditzy valley girl. If you were a fan of Julie Brown beforehand, the parody would have been easy to pick up. Besides the red hair, her valley girl speech,
Madonna!
Julie Brown's most recognizable style dress, and yes, even just like Brown, Bruin was able to get away with a lot of cleavage. That's it. I might need to go take a cold shower before I explode. This has been Furry Girl Profiles, Floral Rug, and Julie Bruin. If you liked today's video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe for future videos. My name is Jawbreaker, and I thank you for watching Playfur Cinema.
Hey, Mr. Beaver, why are you beavering around? Haven't you heard of Cadbury's Caramel? See, as the thick Cadbury's milk chocolate melts with that dreamy caramel, you just have to take things really easy. Looks like somebody else could do with some. Take it easy with Cadbury's Caramel.
Today's Furry Girl Profile rushes us back into another character review from 1992's The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. In episode Magnificent Sonic, we open up in an Old West style town we will shortly find out was called Tranquil Gulch. A few seconds in, and the current sheriff finds himself in a shootout with one of Robotnik's robots called Six Gun Pete. After Pete runs him out of town, Sonic and Tails not long after come racing through. Sonic wanted some relaxation in town, and the first place he and Tails would stop was the saloon, where we meet our featured girl, Miss Possum, who was the bartender.
What'll it be, boys? I'm Miss Possum. Welcome to my saloon, Mr.
While ordering from the bar, Playboy Sonic didn't hesitate to hit on the first girl he saw. When Six Gun Pete came in causing trouble, Sonic fended him off by tricking him into blowing his own head off. Not only was Miss Possum impressed, but the mayor attempted to make the speedster the brand new sheriff. Sonic was ready to decline the offer, but he couldn't say no to the babe enticing him, so he became sheriff temporarily. In the meantime, the now headless Six Gun Pete traveled back to Robotnik and alerted him about what was ruining his plans to turn the town into a casino. As expected, he sent Scratch and Grounder to take care of Sonic. The Doofus duo arrived in town and challenged him to a shootout, but he tricked them to a game of strip poker instead. Miss Possum watched from the sidelines as Sonic kept beating them and causing them to obsessively pull their robotics off to make up the cost. As Tails took out the trash, she would rejoice and reward the town hero with a well-earned kiss.
Don't be such a humble hedgehog. You're an ace of hearts in my book.
But this also soon causes problems of its own, because Scratch and Grounder was still watching from the shadows, and they figured out Sonic was way into Miss Possum. Scratch visits the saloon and tells her Sonic wanted to have a romantic picnic with her. When she enters the wagon, she quickly finds out she was being kidnapped to lure him into a trap. When Sonic found out she was in trouble, he raced to chase the runaway wagon down, which was heading towards the edge of a cliff. He jumped over the edge following behind it and made his way through the window. Scratch and Grounder then unleashed the next stage of their plan, which was to imprison the two inside and make a jump for it with the parachutes. But the two morons completely forgot to put them on first. Sonic would then use them to slow fall down and allow the wagon to drift downriver like a boat.
Oh, Sonic, you're so romantic.
The Badnik duo, however, wasn't done yet, but the upcoming rapids had a different plan in mind for them. Sonic guided him and Miss Possum out of harm's way, while Scratch and Grounder found themselves smashed to pieces.
Oh, Sonic, you're wonderful.
However, both sides would soon find themselves going over a waterfall. Sonic and Possum managed to survive with no trouble, but the Robos were captured and jailed. A message was then sent to Robotnik telling him it would cost a heavy fee to get his robots back. He would soon arrive to town accompanied with 5 other new robots, designed to turn Sonic into blue cheese. After dealing with the extras, he would soon then face off with Robotnik directly while Tails was being held captive. Miss Possum would soon then run to his side out of concern.
Sonic, wait! If you're gonna get shot, at least you should wear some nice duds. But
it wasn't clear yet, but apparently she had a trick up her sleeve to match Sonic's fancy new outfit. Under Sonic's cloak was a mirror, which he would use to reflect Robotnik's gunfire. He stumbles into his minions, where they end up defeated after getting nailed into a porta potty turned into a coffin. Sonic then declares his job as sheriff is over, but before leaving, he will pass the role on to Miss Possum, a girl who was just kidnapped and hasn't used a gun the entire episode, but okay. Miss Possum was voiced by Louise Valance.
There's something wacky at McDonald's.
Big Mac.
The Tiny Toon Adventures game.
It's Babs and Buster Bunny. And Persian.
Fries.
Ooh, that's me.
A Diet Coke and
100 Happy Meals.
100 Happy Meals.
When's lunch?
I mean, one Happy Meal.
Now buy your kid a Happy Meal at McDonald's and get a Tiny Toon flip card. 2 cars in one, a different one each week. Collect all 4, get all 8.
100 Happy Meals, sir.
Now what?
Better pop the trunk.
After a long while away from the series, we return to 1990's Looney Tunes spin-off series, Tiny Toon Adventures. But this time, we aren't touring the halls of Acme University. Our next featured girl is a student of Perfecto Prep. She made her debut in the Acme Bowl, where the Acme University football team was getting obliterated by every other university football team. They were so bad, they didn't have a single win to their record. In order to get a date with Babs, the head cheerleader, Buster joined the team to help their chances. But even then, Acme Lou had lost so much they were celebrating being horrible.
Are we gonna get careened? We're gonna get annihilated!
It was backed up by the fact they had to go up against the undefeated Perfecto Prep next, and there was a reason why they were undefeated. Perfecto was a school of notorious cheaters, and they prided themselves on it. It even seemed as if they wrote Plucky in, who was showing signs he was done going to a losing school. When everyone was to throw their playbooks into the campfire, Plucky kept his and took a ride with Roger Rat and Dan Forth to Perfecto. The dorms had everything Plucky could ever want, even gorgeous babes.
Mind if I join you?
Joining the hot tub was a minor female duck with a snooty personality by the name of Margot Mallard. She was temporarily voiced by Kath Soki. It was the only time we would see her hair down before her established ponytail, and she started out in taller stature.
Danforth, how long do I have to play up to this geek?
After seducing Plucky, she would then dash over to her real boyfriend Danforth, where he tells her he would be disposed of once Perfecto Prep won their football game. Margot didn't play a further bigger role, besides later being seen on the field cheerleading without a bit of seriousness. Unlike Danforth, who has made video game appearances, her roles were limited mainly to episodes that put Perfecto against Acme Lou. She returned in Wacko World of Sports during Bleacher Bummer, being seen briefly cheerleading, and later getting scolded when her school was caught cheating. However, she wasn't spotted getting hurled from the arena by Dizzy like some of her classmates. In her third appearance during Son of Wacko Sports, she joined the games by teaming up with Rebella Rat during a synchronized swimming event. No cheating involved. They were a perfect team, while Babs and Shirley were just bad and blew their second round by almost drowning. Yet later, when Acme Lou won, it was Babs standing in third place instead of Margot or Rebella. Her last appearance wasn't out of odor, but she was briefly seen playing in a girls' basketball game with Perfecto versus Acme. Her team is ultimately defeated with some help from Fifi and Elmira. And that's it for another episode of Furry Girl Profiles. Remember, if you liked today's video, please leave a like, comment back, and subscribe for future content. My name is Jawbreaker, and I thank you all for watching Playfur Cinema.
Now, Walker's crisps are even more irresistible. With 36 Looney Tunes cubics to collect. Swap them, build them, but most of all, complete the set to finish the puzzle.
We'll find it. We'll find your missing piece.
You'd better, Big Ears, or the girlfriend gets it.
Bugs, help!
Who's he calling Big Ears?
Viewers of Playfur Cinema, I asked you a question. Which of our previous 4 hottest elimination games should get a rematch? With 59% of the vote, you have selected 2016's hottest Bunny Girl elimination game. So I welcome you all to Miss Bunny Girl 2018. Based on our 2016 hottest Bunny Girl elimination game, only with a different style and slightly different rules. The first part that needs addressing is that the original elimination game had 12 bunnies. This one has 10. That's because Sonic the Hedgehog's Cream the Rabbit and Panini on the right were removed from the game. Trying to narrow the game down due to space, because this is a physical beauty contest, Cream did not fit into the category. Yes, I said physical beauty. Don't you start that only personality matters shit. while Panini was removed from the game due to the fact that she was eliminated first at 12th place, which leaves our seemingly rising star Molly in the middle. During our hottest Bunny Girl elimination game, Molly was eliminated at 11th, putting her between Panini and Cream. When you take those two out, it drops Molly off at 10th, which is still last. So I had her qualify off screen against another rabbit who didn't get an opportunity the last time. None other than Lola Bunny's mother from the Looney Tunes show, Patricia Bunny. But if Patricia is not on the board, it's because off screen, she didn't make it. In the poll with 270 votes, I asked, who did they think was the sexiest rabbit? Molly had 73% of the vote, Patricia 27%. Hey, I'm just the guy who makes the games. Everything else is up to the voters. And the voters decided they wanted red-headed tomboy over thick milk. So, for now, Molly's in and Patricia is out. Now then, for the competing girls, this game is tournament style. And unlike our previous elimination games where we eliminate based on least popularity, the girl with the most total votes wins and goes up the ladder. And of course we do this until we are down to 1. Now as you can see, the girls on the board are already paired up. That's because I put their names in a hat and drew them randomly. In the first bracket, it's Binky Bunny from Tiny Toon Adventures versus Space Jam Lola Bunny. In bracket 2, it's Lexi Bunny from the Lunatics Unleashed versus the Cadbury Caramel Bunny. In bracket 3, it's Judy Hopps from Zootopia versus Kelly O'Hare, aka Cutie Bunny. In bracket 4, we have a Sonic the Hedgehog matchup, Vanilla the Rabbit versus Bunny Rabbi. And over in bracket number 5, it's Molly McDonald from Offer versus Babs Bunny from Tiny Toon Adventures. Oh, and before we get started, there was one other stipulation added to this game that separates this from the hottest elimination games. For those of you who were trying to do my math during the voting process, this game wasn't channel only. In order to make the playing field more fair, I brought in outside voters, and off screen, I asked them all the same questions I asked you all on the channel. Surprise! The thing about tournament styles and drawing names randomly is that you can possibly end up with a matchup that isn't too balanced. Here, we have two Warner Brother bunnies with two different cartoon paths, despite being cut from a similar cloth in terms of their sex appeal. If Jawbreaker was to choose, which is me, I would have put Binky versus Babs and went ahead and put Lola versus Judy. But since I didn't do it, it was have mercy on anybody who had to go up against Lola and possibly Judy, at least for the first round. As we kick off the first round, on the channel, that's what CH stands for, Binky had 6, Lola with 64, placing Binky into an already crippling position. Her only lifeline now is possibly what happens next from the poll voters. And of course, there will be no mercy given. As a matter of fact, for the poor gag character, it's even worse. With 4%, she only had 10 votes. That was going up against Lola's staggering 96% with 263. So, as we turn back the page, Binky's 6 on the channel and 10 in the polls, while Lola's 64 on the channel and 263 in the polls, giving Binky only a grand total of 16, while Lola had a grand total of 327. Binky is eliminated while Lola advances to the next round. Over in bracket 2, it's Lola Bunny's descendant, Lexi Bunny, versus the Caramel Bunny. So let's get this contest started and get those numbers up on the board. Here on the channel, the voters voted in favor of Lexi Bunny with 40 votes, while the Caramel Bunny was lagging a little bit behind with 29. But can the poll voters save her? Apparently not. Apparently, in 2018, there's not enough love and respect for an icon who once made sexy anthropomorphic cartoons a thing. And for a cartoon rabbit who once ranked 3rd place behind Jessica Rabbit and Betty Boop, 29% is a hell of a drop. With only a total of 78 votes, she was greatly outmatched against Lexi Bunny's 71%, adding up to 192 votes in total. So, as we turn back to the page, Lexi, 40 from the channel, 192 from the polls, equaling out to a grand total of 332. While the Cadbury Caramel Bunny, 29 from the channel, 78th in the polls, equaling out to 107. Caramel is eliminated from the game, while Lexi moves on to the next round. You know what's a real shame? Is that every time Judy is involved in one of our elimination games, misery is sure to follow. Because even though I say it's a beauty contest, some folks can't accept that Judy can't win at everything. And when reality sets in and faced with the possibility that Judy cannot win, the next thing I know, certain folks want to accuse me of rigging the results. Even though in our first hottest elimination game, Judy had no business beating Lola, I went ahead and let the bigger majority of Zootopia fans keep their victory with Judy. Yes, new viewers, we are ass backwards. Judy Hopps won first place in a beauty contest the first time around. Cutie Bunny over on the right was eliminated at 7th place. 7th place. 7th place. 7th place! But, of course, you all do you because I know you all are gonna do you regardless. So, let's continue. Hold on, wait a second. Oh, I told you, they actually tried it. Come on, accept this as the 5th stage of grief, and we're still in denial. My bad. Anyway, here on the channel, Judy was voted with 36 votes. Cutie Bunny was behind her with 35. And may I mind you, this is the official total after I stopped counting votes at midnight. But over on the polls, the results are completely different. And yes, for this poll, I did reinforce the rules to them. I asked them who was the sexiest rabbit and told them, before you vote, I want to remind you all, this is like Sheila versus Zigzag. This poll is based on sex appeal and physical beauty. Kelly, Cutie Bunny, got 65% of the vote. Judy Hopps got 35% of the vote. So, as we roll back the curtain, we get our official total. Judy with 132 and Cutie Bunny with 210. Judy's gone, but Cutie Bunny will move on to the next round.
You've got to let it go. You can't eat wheat thins, John. You're a puppet, and nothing's going to change that.
Over on bracket 4, it seems the luck of the draw brought us at least 2 characters with some chemistry. Vanilla the Rabbit and Bunny Rabbit. But of course the real story, at least with us, is with Bunny. And that's because she has fallen short not once, but twice. In the first 2 elimination games that was strictly channel only, she fell short in the hottest Bunny Girl elimination game, and then fell short in the hottest Sonic Girl elimination game, both in which were 3rd place. This time around, however, she might be looking to break her run of bad luck. Can she do it? Let's find out. Over on the channel, the girls got themselves a lovely matching pair of 34s. You get it? It's a female jewelry joke. You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and move forward now. With no sizable outcome, the difference maker is now gonna come from the poll voters. Out of 270 votes, Bunny Rabbit got 67%, while Vanilla the Rabbit got 33. Vanilla was outmatched by 94 votes. So, as we turn back the page one more time, Vanilla had a grand total of 122. Bunny Rabbit, 216. Vanilla is eliminated from the game, but Bunny Rabbit will move on to the next round. We finally come to the 5th and last bracket on the first round. Molly McDonald versus Babs Bunny. Here on the channel, Molly received 34 votes, while Babs Bunny received 26. And as we flip the chart over to see what the poll voters wanted, it wasn't much better for Babsy. Out of 270, Molly got 69. She got 69! While Babs only received 31% of the vote. As we look back at the final total, Molly had 219, Babs 111. Molly moves on to the second round, while Babs is eliminated. As we look at the advancement ladder for the second round, while there are fewer girls on the board, there is only 5, leaving at least one girl without an opponent to pair up with. So I made the decision that at least one bracket was going to be one-on-one, while the other was a triple threat. Now we are actually getting somewhere. It's Ancestor versus Descendant, Lexi Bunny versus Lola Bunny. Meanwhile, over on the second bracket, it's Molly McDonald versus Cutie Bunny versus Bunny Rabbit. As we turn our attention back to Lexi and Lola, apparently they might come from the same tree, but they're not treated the same according to the channel. It's yet another beatdown reminiscent of Binky, Lexi with 9 votes, while Lola 64. And as we turn our attention to the polls, there isn't much saving grace there either. Lola Bunny with 89%, while Lexi only received 11%. Turning our attention back to the page to see the grand total, Lexi with 40, while Lola had 310. Lexi is out, but Lola will move on to the final round. Sadly, Lexi, you were massacred, but at least you tried. Over on poll 2, it seems that Molly's luck has finally run out, with only 9 votes, while Bunny Rabbit managed to lead Cutie Bunny only by 1 vote. Over on the polls, Cutie Bunny received 41%, while Bunny Rabbit received the highest with 51%. As for Molly, things ain't much better with only 7%. As we look at the official totals, Molly 29, Cutie Bunny 145, and Bunny Rabbit 172. Of course, Bunny Rabbit is advancing to the final round, while Molly and Cutie are eliminated. And might I just say before we move forward, sometimes favoritism is not a road to victory. If Bunny Rabbit was somebody's solution to beating Lola Bunny, you might have just royally screwed yourself. But what does Jailbreaker know? People only listen to him when it's convenient. As we take one more look at the advancement ladder, it's Lola Bunny in the final round versus Bunny Rabbit. It looks as if Bunny finally managed to break her 3rd place curse, and it only took the removal of 2 girls, a different voting system, a wider audience, and the struggle of breaking away from the norm. Meanwhile, Lola is looking to remind folks that she still is the top female bunny after having victory snatched from her the first time. Let's begin the final round. Once again, I'm going to remind you all that this is the official total after I stopped counting votes at midnight. If you were to recount the votes now, yes, Bunny has a little bit more than what's on the board, but it wasn't enough to beat out Lola on the channel. Even though Lola won this round, her victory is not yet absolute. Since the poll voters are clearly the bigger majority, they can easily take victory away from Lola again and give it to Bunny. So, let's begin our drum roll. Out of 270 votes, Lola Bunny 72, Bunny Rabbit 28%. Lola received 196 votes. Bunny Rabbit received 75. With 244 votes with a 132 difference, your winner of Miss Bunny Girl 2018 is Lola Bunny. Here is your official leaderboard. Lola Bunny first place 881. Bunny Rabbit, 2nd place, 500. Cutie Bunny, 3rd place, 355. Lexi, 4th place, 272. Molly McDonald, 248, 5th place. Judy Hops, 132, 6th place. Vanilla the Rabbit, 7th place, 122. Babs Bunny, 8th place, 111. The Cadbury Caramel Bunny, 9th place, 107. And Binky, 10th place, 16 votes. Now here comes Jailbreaker again with his bluntness. I personally feel this list could have been better, but then again, you guys did this. Forget Judy. Judy is right there where she belongs, in the middle, not too low and not too high. Ironically, what's bothering me the most is that Molly is so high up and Babs and the Cadbury Bunny are so low. I'm glad that you all took my words to heart and found a newfound love for Molly, but we all have to admit, during the time when we did that first Hottest Bunny Girl elimination game, Molly was just flat out of her league, and I wish this motivation was actually there when we did the Cute Cup. And I say that because, thinking of the character of Molly, if she had to go up against any of the girls as far as being a supermodel, every last girl on this board would put the hurting on her. I understand that not everybody thinks like me. Most folks want their favorites to win. I want my favorites to win too, but I also want to put people where they're supposed to be. Molly versus Babs had me conflicted, and was one of those times I would have gladly sacrificed the redhead for Babs. But oddly enough, that wasn't even the greatest botch of the game that bothered me. It's the fact that there was an opportunity to actually topple Lola without much collateral damage. But once again, she was thrown away. It wasn't Bunny, and it's not Judy. It was Kelly, Cutie Bunny. Jeez, people, I said it's a beauty contest. If you want to topple somebody like Lola, who's been a sex symbol cartoon icon for 20 years, you put somebody up there like Cutie Bunny who can at least threaten her. You are wasting good coconut titties! Don't take this the wrong way now. This is not criticism. This is advice. Learn how to pick warriors, not names. It's called being strategic. You want to knock out a Muhammad Ali, you need to put a Joe Frazier there who can do it. But who's Jawbreaker, right? We'll be right back to the same mess again when it's convenient for people the next time. Thank you all for tuning in to Miss Bunny Girl 2018 here on Playfur Cinema's Gone with the Fur Theater. If you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe for future videos. My name is Jawbreaker, and I thank you for watching Playfur Cinema.
What was your joyful thought?
You don't want to know.
Oh, but I do. Please tell me. What did you imagine?
Furry creatures.
I'm late. I'm late for a very important date. I'm late. I'm late for a very important date.
Hey, Mr. Rabbit. Why are you so twitchy? Haven't you heard of Cadbury's Caramel? See, as the creamy tasting milk chocolate on the outside melts with a dreamy caramel on the inside, you just have to take everything really easy. Anyway, Mr. Rabbit, you must be as mad as a hatter to want to go to some silly old tea party. Take it easy with Cadbury's Caramel.
Before the Chipettes, Brittany, Jeanette, and Eleanor, there was Charlene. She was a very brief character who was featured only in one song called You're the One I Want on the 1982's The Chipmunks Go to Hollywood album.
You better shape up, 'cause I need a man, and my heart is set on you.
The biggest impact she made was becoming the inspiration for Brittany, the leader of the Chipettes and leading love interest for Alvin. In 1991, Alvin and the Chipmunks got a new TV special called Rockin' Through the Decades, which was hosted by a younger and rising star, Will Smith. This film wasn't business as usual like the 1983 series, since it was Alvin performing parodies of different songs from different time periods. During the film, an unknown Chipette appeared twice, once during Surfin' Safari, and later during Crocodile Rock, which was originally from Elton John. During Crocodile Rock, she appeared from a picture and danced with Alvin for most of the video. She had long blonde hair and wore a sparkling red dress with red heels. The film never confirmed if the girl dancing with Alvin was Brittany or a random Chipette, and because of that, the internet made up its own assumption and started declaring her Charlene because of her blonde hair. Here's the problem with ranting against cartoons like Alvin and the Chipmunks. They tend to fill in any role regardless of canon age or design they usually have. If the role called for, say, Brittany to have her hair much longer, blonde, appear older, or be seductive for a song of parody, that's what she would do. As far as the debate over Brittany versus Charlene goes, the answer to the mystery was solved with the release of When You Wish Upon a Chipmunk CD album in October 1995. If you would just open up this lovely little vintage CD case, inside you will find Jeanette and Eleanor with the exact same Chipette from the Rockin' Through the Decades movie, confirming it was Brittany and putting a final nail in the coffin about Charlene dancing with Alvin. It's amazing how much a rumor or a lie can spread when all you have to do is open the CD cover to get the answer. And as far as the Chipette goes on Surfin' Safari, you wanna know who else wears similar pink bikinis? Brittany! Because she wore one just like it during the Chipmunk Adventures movie. Pink is Brittany's signature color, like blue is to Jeanette and green is to Eleanor. Almost none of her swimsuits have ever gone without it. As an additional add-on, the Chipette in the red dress has a pink nose, just like Brittany, while Charlene's was black. Charlene is obsolete and always has been after 1982. That's what you have Britney for now. If you see someone who has the wrong information on this topic, please do respectfully correct them. In 1983, Alvin and the Chipmunks got a new TV series. This would be the show that debuted the rivals and sometimes girlfriends, the Chipettes. By the show's 8th and final season, it became a retool called The Chipmunks Go to the Movies that focused on doing movie parodies instead of following the adventures of the Chipmunks and Chipettes. During the second episode, a parody of Tom Hanks' 1988 Big was featured, but instead was called Bigger. In this episode, Alvin is friends with Simon and Theodore, and they had their own band called the Furballs. Despite them being pretty talented, no record producer wanted to take them because they were little kids. Keep in mind, the story exaggerates for the sake of the plot. In real life, record producers take kids all the time. Nevertheless, Alvin wasn't having it. The next step was the county fair, where they were once again shot down for being too little. When Alvin goes for a walk, he comes across a jukebox that had the power to grant real wishes. In the movie Big, it was a wish machine with an actual Zotar. The jukebox granted his wish right on the spot. Being older now meant he had the freedom to go anywhere he wanted and take his friends with him. And the first place he wanted to go was the Babes concert. After Dave, his dad gave him some money thinking he was a bum, Alvin and friends took a trip to the concert where they find the Chipettes performing on stage. However, in this story, they were a rock group called the Babes and appeared to be older for the plot. They could also be heard singing The Girls of Rock and Roll, which was first heard in the 1987 Chipmunk Adventures movie, sometimes also referred to as The Girls and Boys of Rock and Roll. Because Alvin was an adult, him and his friends sat in the adult section, where they shared a table with the supervisors for the Babes. Alvin came at the perfect time because the girls were trying to change their image. Even Barbie, the lead singer performed by Britney, wanted her name changed. After giving his opinions on the girls, he was hired on the spot to work in the music studio, where all his accidental choices ended up being successful.
Alvin, how about a heavy metal band called the Plumbers?
Hurry!
Flush the Plumbers!
So the president decided he was ready to manage the Babes. For those who actually know the show lore, these girls were much more aggressive than the Chipettes. It's a whole different ballgame when a soft-spoken Jeanette is threatening you.
You know, attitude. Yeah, you know, something that'll make us hotter than we are now. And we want it by Friday.
Because Alvin still had the mindset of a 4th grader, he failed to understand what they were asking of him. They wanted to be hotter with a new style, likely something more adulterated to get away from a kiddie image. He does the complete opposite and has them dress up as babies instead.
Everyone loves babies.
Even though he was a 4th grader, it was like he progressively got dumber as time went on. Now, he had one job and one chance to screw up, and everything that can go wrong went wrong, starting when Barbie didn't like how that teddy bear stepped on her foot. Then Jeanette's bonnet blinded her, causing her to bounce Eleanor across the room where they soon bumped back into each other, destroying the entire set and studio. That would spell the end of Alvin's career and soon his desire to be an adult. It surely wasn't getting the seal of approval from Barbie.
I want a new director. This is harder than I thought.
By the next day, sure enough, he got a call back and was terminated with tummy ache and all.
But that's not fair.
Stop acting like such a baby.
What?
The Babes don't appear again for the rest of the episode. Please remember to give the video a like, comment back, and sub for more content. My name is Jawbreaker, and I thank you for watching Playfur Cinema.
Kraft Macaroni and Cheese presents Animaniacs.
It's Cheesy Gecko Wacko-Wony.
The Pinky and Brainoni.
Nice view from down baloney. Did someone say baloney?
It's the Cheesy Macaroni.
It's new Kraft Animaniacs Macaroni and Cheese.
It's as cheesy as we are.
Beautiful.
It's us in Noodle-oni. It's a cheesy pandemonium.
I'll be even more well-known.
'Cause it's Kraft Animaniacs Macaroni.
Before there was a Minnie Mouse, and shortly before Hortensia the cat, there was a lady rabbit by the name of Fanny. Fanny was the first girlfriend to Walt Disney's first famous creation, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, who he came up with during his time at Universal Studios. In 2010, Walt Disney Studios published the video game Epic Mickey. It was Oswald's first big project since his return to Disney. Originally for the game, Fanny was supposed to also return and be his love interest, which could have also made her Oswald's Queen of the Wastelands. Instead, she was scrapped for Hortensia, who was Oswald's latest girlfriend. Her outfit of choice used to consist of a skirt, and on occasions, a hat with a flower on it. It was a traditional retro look that is still very much worn by Hortensia, and was a classic look for Minnie Mouse during the 1920s. In 1934, under Walter Lantz, not only did Oswald receive a complete alteration to his design and personality, Fanny was also brought back in order to play his sister as Gretel.
What'll you have, my little miss? I want a cake as big as this.
While the name Fanny was displayed during Candy House, during the Universal period with Walt Disney and Ub Iwerks, on screen her name was never mentioned. During the time you could only find it on copyrighted documents. Fast forwarding decades into the future, however, you can find her name now in Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, The Search for the Lost Disney Cartoons, as well as Walt in Wonderland, the silent films of Walt Disney. Upon observation, both books list her under the full name of Fanny Cottontail. However, the name Fanny wasn't given to her until later on. Both books state before that Universal was referring to her as two different names, once being referred to as the girl, and at another point was referred to as Miss Rabbit. She was a very brief character, making only 4 main appearances under Walt Disney and Ub, with her first appearance being O Teacher, which was released on September 19, 1927. At the beginning of O Teacher, we see Oswald riding his bike to Fanny's house so he can pick her up and take her to school. As they ride along, they are spotted by a bully who decides to use them as an opportunity to get to school. He clotheslines Oswald and proceeds to take control of the runaway bike, with Fanny still in the sidecar. The cart eventually breaks away from the bike and rolls down the hill, sending her plummeting into a lake. As Oswald tries to rescue Fanny from drowning, the bully walks over him and steals the rescue. After recovering, she thanks him, but scolds Oswald as she holds her nose up at him and flips her skirt. She may have possibly thought he caused the accident. Trying to get revenge, Oswald has his head knocked clean off his shoulders, and it's the bully who makes the save yet again by getting him and Fanny to school on time. Oswald's vengeance, however, wouldn't stop there, as he waits outside during the recess with a brick in his hand. But when he gets caught, the bully throws the brick into the air where it slides down the gutter, where it soon comes out the other end and knocks him out cold. Upon seeing Fanny coming, Oswald began boasting and flexing his muscles in order to impress her, as if he was the one that knocked him out. And it works as she praises him as the cartoon draws to a close. Her next appearance was in The Mechanical Cow, which was released on October 3rd, 1927. Almost midway into the cartoon, we see her skipping along with a bucket in her hand. She brings it to Oswald so he can fill it with milk. After he does, he gives it to her and she takes her leave. Oswald soon decides to take a break from his gig and goes off to follow her. As they sat and flirt with each other, they were unaware of the pending danger that was nearby, as a mysterious shadowy figure sneaks up on them, grabs Fanny, and throws her into the back of the car. The vehicle then takes off, where she is soon seen fighting and screaming for her life. Oswald, in pursuit on the back of his mechanical cow, eventually catches up and pulls Fanny out the back of the car with the support of his neck. When the villains realize she's gone, they turn around in order to get her back. The chase ends up sending Fanny and Oswald off the edge of a cliff, where they end up hanging onto a single branch. The shadowy villains eventually ride off the back of the mechanical cow and fall to their watery demise. The vehicle that falls after would create enough water pressure to help the couple get back onto safe land. Oswald then prepares a seat for him and Fanny on the back of the mechanical cow, where they soon ride off together. Great Guns, which had its general release on October 17, 1927, was Fanny's shortest appearance and the first and only time she didn't have to play a damsel in distress. In Great Guns, a war was about to take place and Oswald was participating. Before embracing the battlefield, the first person he rushed to was his girlfriend, who seemed to be very impressed with the news that he was becoming a soldier, which isn't all that surprising, seeing as Fanny has somewhat of a history of liking men who symbolize strength, and Oswald is just the kind of guy who doesn't mind using it to score some points with her. But pretty soon the fun and games are over, as the trumpet calls for Oswald. However, Fanny wasn't ready for him to go, and the two embrace each other for as long as possible. Oswald then decides it's time to break it up, as he detaches his lips from hers. But as he stands and looks at her, he has a change of heart and the two go back to being intimate. The scene soon transitions him out on the battlefield in the middle of enemy fire, where Fanny is nothing more than a pitcher. Just him, the pitcher, and what seems to be no comrades in sight. Towards the end of the cartoon, Oswald finds himself shattered to pieces by a cannonball. We eventually see Fanny make a last-minute return as a nurse and calls for a ceasefire in order to help the victim. She gathers up the pieces and restores them in safety at the hospital. Unbeknownst to her, the pieces that she was restoring was Oswald. At the sound of her voice, he eventually wakes up and sees her in front of him, and the couple lovingly embrace each other yet again as the cartoon comes to a close. All Wet was released on Halloween Day, October 31st, 1927. This cartoon marked the last official appearance of Fanny under Disney at Universal, and it's the same one that introduced us to an almost completely different incarnation of her. She makes her grand entrance skipping along the beach with her hands on her hips, and makes a stop at Oswald's hot dog stand. Fanny, for most of her short career, was generally sweet and innocent in her nature, but during her last appearance, she was much more flirtatious and voluptuous. She drops a sign of interest to Oswald, then walks out to the beach to see if he'll follow. And of course, he takes the bait, as he closes shop and fixes his hair. But when he goes to meet with her, she holds her nose up at him as a sign that she's not pleased with what she sees. So, Oswald walks off. As he stood on the boardwalk, what really catches Fanny's eye is the lifeguard. That old trait of loving men who symbolize strength kicking in. Oswald soon uses this to his advantage and pays off the lifeguard. And it works, as Fanny's gaze was now completely all over him as he stood at the boardwalk looking tough. Now it was her who wanted all of his attention, so she decided to play a little game. She takes a nearby boat and rolls it out to sea, where she changes into her swimsuit, where she then pretends like she's in trouble and calls for Oswald's help, sending him into a panic. As he rolls a boat out to rescue her, Fanny's phony distress call turns into a real emergency, as a fish begins pulling her down into the water by her feet. Oswald eventually makes it out to her and dives into the water, but soon finds himself caught up in the tides along with her, which eventually tosses them both into the air and helps them get back onto the beach safely. After resuscitating and helping her make a full recovery, Fanny wakes up to thank her hero the best way she knows how, with a sizzling hot kiss. And so, All Wet ends on a happy ending. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Furry Girl Profiles. If you liked today's video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe for future videos. My name is Jawbreaker, and I thank you for watching Playfur Cinema.
There is a hamburger side, and there is a tomato side. There is Pepe, and there is Mademoiselle. Ho, ho, ho. En garde, pigeon.
When those that are kept apart finally come together, it's not just good.
Meat is fantastic.
McDonald's new McDLT.
Are you guys ready to rock out with the next featured Furry Girl? Because we're heading back to Sonic Underground one more time to take a look at the fabulous Mindy Latour. Mindy Latour was an anthropomorphic fox who made a one-time appearance in The Price of Freedom. When Sonya gets fed up with being a hero and her brothers, she decides to race off for some personal time at Latour Estate, where she meets her old friend Mindy. While inside the home of Mindy and her father, Mr. Latour, Sonya tells them the reason that she came was for some M&M.
M&M?
Massage and manicure.
A little later on, while shopping around, Sonya took an interest in Mindy's watch. A watch she designed herself for her father's factory, which had to be opened because Robotnik was bleeding the business dry with his high taxes. Either way, Mindy ends up giving her watch away as a gift to Sonya. After staying the night and waking up from a terrible dream, Sonya makes a discovery about the watches, that they were actually spy surveillance cameras.
I have no idea how much information it got back to those RIA bozos. One thing for sure, they know I'm here. You better get here fast.
After making up with the team and breaking into the watch factory, they are soon confronted by Mindy and her father.
The alarm went off at the house. We thought someone was breaking into the factory.
Sonya fills Mindy in on the truth about the watches, that they were actually spy surveillance cameras working for Robotnik.
No, Daddy, wait. What is that?
I wanted to keep you
safe and happy. If I said no to Robotnik, he'd take everything away. And I couldn't let him do that to my little girl.
Like every episode of Sonic Underground, there's a song. Mindy is the only other character in this series to co-sing with the Sonic Underground. After expressing her feelings to her father through song, she soon has a revelation.
Oh, Daddy, I don't need shopping and facials and manicures. So what should I wear, my pink camouflage?
Okay, kinda sorta. Even though she sung the song Money Can't Buy, Mindy had an issue giving things up and not fully comprehending the situation she was in.
Which do you think will look better in the forest, blue or red?
Mr. Latour going back on his word to Robotnik put him and Mindy at jeopardy of being thrown in prison, and needed to escape the estate immediately because Sleet and Dingo were on their way to capture them.
Freeze, Latour!
Not being willing to sacrifice anything took important time away from escaping.
No, don't go. I rolled out your carpet for you.
This mistake leads to Sleet and Dingo succeeding in capturing them. And despite Mr. Latour's best efforts to get his daughter to safety, she is unable to escape Sleet. However, with some quick thinking from Sonic, Mindy and her father are able to escape the clutches of Sleet and Dingo. And for a little payback, Mindy even joined in.
Yes! To freedom!
To prison! Because the trouble is not over yet! Agent N of the Robotic Intelligence Agency returns, and succeeds in not only capturing the Latours, but Manic and Sonya as well. Once on board the vessel, Agent N was prepared to roboticize everyone, starting with Sonya.
Ms. Latour, you're about to become famous and roboticized.
Sonic comes to the rescue again just in time, with an army of watchers, him, Manic, and Sonya reprogrammed, and proceeds to disassemble Agent N and the other robots. Once they returned home after dealing with Agent N, Mindy and her father took one last look at their home before they had to leave it behind. And even though she was upset, she learned in the end that as long as she had her father,
That's all that matters.
This has been another episode of Furry Girl Profiles. Like always, remember to subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you next time.
Hey, Mr. B, why are you buzzing around? Haven't you heard of Cadbury's Caramel? See, as the creamy tasting Cadbury's milk chocolate melts with that dreamy caramel. You just have to take everything really easy. Oh, looks like someone else could do with some. Take it easy with Cadbury's Caramel.
Metalheads! How about a game of whack-a-bye?
This is not Lola Bunny. This is her descendant, Lexi Bunny. What happens when you merge the Looney Tunes with Teen Titans? You'll probably end up with 2005's Lunatics Unleashed. The story took place in 2772. The city planet of Acmetropolis was knocked completely off its axis when it was struck by a meteor. The impact created an energy wave that altered the citizens of Acmetropolis, giving them new abilities, 6 of which that were recruited by a gorgeous alien woman named Sadafia. Under Ace Bunny's leadership, they became the Lunatics.
She'll be whatever you want her to be. A glove? A choker? A cuddle walker?
Lexi Bunny, who was the only female member of the group who had a love for music and a fashion sense, was voiced by Jessica DeChico and was the second in command of the Lunatics. While not a whole great deal is known about Lexi's backstory, in episode 6 of The Comet Cometh, just before the meteor struck Acmetropolis, she was trying out to be a cheerleader, and Lexi proved herself to be good. As a matter of fact, she was too good, to the point the head cheerleader got jealous of her acrobatic skills.
I'm afraid you don't have what it takes.
Even with Lexi's hopes and dreams being snatched away from her, the meteorite will forever change her life regardless. Her main abilities would include super hearing, and her primary special attack, which was called Brain Blast. In episode Apocalypto, she also had a temporary power to control plants.
Did someone say video game?
A skill to add to her honorable mentions was how incredibly talented she was at video games. Once landing a planet in trouble, they were also good enough to save it. Out of the other 5 lunatics, Ace Bunny and Danger Duck were the ones she interacted with most, seemingly Duck more so. This was because in many occasions in the series, Lexi and Duck were often paired up like a duo, and even developed a brother and sister type relationship.
Whoa, here comes your girlfriend.
Reminds me of some of the guys who keep calling you. Except the rocks have more personality.
Despite his conceited attitude, Lexi very much did listen to and admire Duck.
And I know I'll be as brave as you, Duck.
Dare to dream, Lexi. Dare to dream.
So much so, he's even able to talk her into sacrificing herself.
Thanks for your advice, Duck. You were right. It is better to sacrifice one than for all to perish.
Even though it was for his benefit and not for the team. In episode Creep in the Deep, he even proved to Lexi that she could break the limits of her powers.
My powers are different down here, so maybe your powers are different too.
Use your brain blast!
As for Ace, as much as we expect romance from the descendants of Bugs and Lola, in 26 episodes there was very little hints, unless Lexi was good at hiding her feelings. The true hints only really came out whenever Ace was believed to be dead or badly injured, because he's always the first person she runs to, or is the first person to run by his side. I guess we'll never fully know until there's probably a reboot. This has been Furry Girl Profile's Lexi Bunny. If you liked today's video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe for future videos. My name is Jawbreaker. Have a happy new year!
We're tiny, we're toony, we're all a little loony. Yo, Picasso, what's up?
Watch out, guys. Libby's new Tiny Toon Adventures pasta. How about some kids?
All right, here's the plan.
Wow, Libby's Tiny Toon Adventures pasta. Yum! Look at all these wacky shapes. It's Toonie pasta.
We're tiny, we're toony, we're all a little loony.
Libby's new Tiny Toon Adventures pasta. It's tunes on your spoons.
Today in Furry Girl Profiles episode 60 takes us into a very brief look of the 1986 movie The Enchanted Forest. A story about an unknown yet seemingly magical forest purged into darkness by a villain known as the Cactus King, who wants to turn the entire land into a desert. But the Cactus King fears a prophecy that threatens his rule, that says that a human will one day come to defeat him. That human became Peter Pallet, a painter who slept under the elm tree and inherited temporarily magical powers, as well as the ability to talk to the animal creatures of the forest. If you were an 80s or 90s kid, probably one of the most memorable animals out of the film was a character by the name of Fifi Fox.
Bonjour, Monsieur l'artiste. I am Fifi Fox.
Fifi was the beautiful and delicate vixen of the film, who spoke with a French accent. She was one of the major recurring animals that helped Peter Pallet beat the Cactus King and save the forest, at one point using her beauty to sucker in the guards, as well as playing a rather big role in befriending Cactus King's former wizard, Thistle. There isn't a great deal to speak about on the topic of Fifi Fox, but it is possible she became the predecessor inspiration to a much more popular character 4 years later.
A spider!
Fifi LaFume of 1990's Tiny Toon Adventures became that much more popular character. If Fifi Fox didn't play a role in her existence, then it's a very, very strong case of coincidence. Both recognized as gorgeous characters, they both speak with a French accent, and they're both named Fifi. Yet strangely enough, you can barely find any conversations talking about their comparisons, nor does there seem to be any sources linking Fifi Fox to Fifi LaFume's origin, with only one other source saying Miss Mamselle Hansabutt possibly inspired Fifi LaFume. So does it for this episode of Furry Girl Profiles. Remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe for future videos. My name is Jawbreaker and I thank you for watching Playfur Cinema.